Well, thanks everyone for joining. I'm real excited to talk about a topic near and dear to my heart, which is all about data and analytics and how it's improving the dealership experience, improving dealership performance. With me, I have two experts on the topic. We have Tully Williams, Fixed Ops Director at the Nilo Company.
Yes.
And we have Brian Abrams, heads up product for CDK Data and Intelligence Group. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
So I'm just going to start off with some tidbits we found. We do a lot of market research, understanding what dealerships are seeing, what they're looking for. And the first thing I noticed from our market research study, which really popped out to me, is that we saw 70% of dealers that are not satisfied with their current reporting solution, right? And so when we really dug into that to understand what it is, and 6 out of the 10 dealers said it's because we need more advanced features, right? We need to move beyond just data reporting more to advanced analytics, take advantage of all the new technologies. Yep. So we completely understand that, and that's a fascinating, and I want to kind of hand it over to you, Tully, and understand you've been in this business for a while. You've got a great group. You understand data. What are you seeing at your dealership, how you're handling data, reporting, analytics?
So I think you're spot on. You think about 70%, I'm surprised it's not 95%, right? We get a little bit of data, and then we don't know how to present that out. And I think that the openness that you're allowing to happen is we can get the data and then present it out to our people and make it better. See, I believe data helps drive success to make more money for all of our employees, for them and their families. So data drives success, but we have to put it in a way that they can see it and see the success they're having on a daily basis. A lot of problems when we look at data is, what do we look at? We look at yesterday's data or last month's data. Don't look in the rearview mirror. We want to look at the head in the windshield of what's happening. And I think that when people see that I'm on the green and I'm doing well, guess what? You're feeling good. Feel confident. If you're down below, like I'm in the red, what can I do? We can help you out and get them in the green. So data helps us with our employees. You think about technicians, service advisors, salespeople, F&I people. Those are the people that are driving our success. Those are what make people happy, right? We sell 4 things in a dealership: cars, F&I products, most important, hours, and parts. And those drive those metrics by showing our people how great they are, and it starts with data.
Always starts with data, doesn't it?
Always.
So, Brian, one thing I touched on, obviously, when you've got a large dealer group, it's important to see it down at an employee level, but you're also going to want to see it across your dealers to understand how is each dealer performing, and maybe even kind of understand operational versus analytic. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between operational and analytic?
Yeah, so operational reporting, like you said, is like, hey, what did I do yesterday? How many ROs did I close yesterday? What's my gross profit last month? Stuff like that. When you look at analytics, you're really looking into the future, right? It's taking historical trends. You need both of them together, obviously, operational and analytics, to really make the magic happen. But those historical trends then turn into the analytics. Start grouping them together to get those actionable insights, like you said, right? We're in the red, what do we need to do to get in the green? And that's what analytics really do, right? It takes the operational and historical data to the next level so you can do something about it.
And I'll even go further on that, is that what do people come to work for? To make money. So what we want to do with those analytics is show them their success on their plan for their month and year. So what we like to do at Nilo is that I have a plan for parts, service writers, technicians, F&I managers, and salespeople on how much money they're going to make next year. And guess what I tell them every day or every month? Where they are in that process. I want to make blank. I'll tell you where you are. To your point, this is how you can look in the future. Like if I sell X amount of hours or X amount of cars or X amount of products, I'll make blank.
Predictive analytics.
100% accurate.
Yes, right.
As long as you do what you asked to do, you stay in the green, you do what you do, we can tell you that. And wow, does that drive success? And what happens when everybody's happy? We sell more stuff. Customers are happy, right? It starts with really employee satisfaction. And of course it goes to customer CSI, which stands for Customer Supplies Income, right?
Oh, right. I haven't heard that one.
Tully, since you are a larger dealer group, can you talk a little bit about how you look at reporting across, being able to compare your dealers?
Great question. So we do it 2 ways. One is that we're going to do stores comparisons. So we'll compare stores and certain things. So I believe that we don't want too much eye candy. We want to simplify those. So let's just look at Fix, because that's what I love the best, is we track hours. Care less about the money, but money is a byproduct. So I track hours by advisor and what happened yesterday. I track hours by my technicians and what happened yesterday and month to dates. I track how they're doing in certain processes, so those screens. But here's the best part about that, is that after you track it, great, it's in my office. But no, what we want to do is tell them every day. So what we do is we have 64 television sets throughout the Delo company, is that we actually tell and show all of the great success for the Nilo family, to the Nilo company and all of their great employees. So they can look at the screen and see where they're at. And it flows through all these different cycles of hours sold, right? Products sold, units sold, right? Oh, they're on their projection. Are they hitting that number, right? The number they want to hit. If we show them and then show everybody, I don't know of anybody that wants to be on the bottom of any list. So we don't have to be negative about trying to motivate people. What we can do is motivate them how to be in the green, and then of course be on the top of the green, and we motivate that. So one thing we do to celebrate those great winners from data, and it's so funny, it comes down to data, is that we have the Superstar Club. So it's $1 million in gross. This is a huge thing that we push out for all of our service advisors. Next is we push out, what are we going to do for our hours? 3,000 hours for a technician, right? 200 units for a technician, for a salesperson, $1 million in F&I gross, right? And then we make a celebration, right? And guess what they look at every day? They look at our data, they look at our screens, they look at the website. Where are they? Where are they on track for how much they can make for them and their family? So, I mean, data, to me, is what drives the company, 100%.
Data-driven culture.
God bless
I love
America.
it.
I think we need a T-shirt. It all starts with data.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So talking about starting with data, Brian, being able to have that comprehensive reporting across the dealer group, it's probably a little simpler than it really looks. There's a lot of what you got to do underlying to curate the data, get the data in, and maybe even be able to bring other competitive data. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what you were talking about is morale, keeping everybody on the same page, looking at data all the time internally, right?
Yeah.
I'll take it a step further and say, how am I being competitive in the market for dealers that are similar to me?
Yes.
Right? So what you need to do that is a lot of market data. And you take that market data, but not every dealer is the same. Different geographies, different brands, economic factors that are going into that, different consumers, consumer behavior. So you have to take that data, that market data, make it relevant to you. Like what's similar to how you operate, and volume, geography, and all that. And then once you take that, you can compare and benchmark yourself next to dealers that are like you, right? Then you know where you stand, you know where you need to improve, and you know where you can keep doing the things really, really well to stay the leader.
I think that when you look at great partners, CDK is a great partner for the Nilo family for God knows how long. I still think they're ADP, right?
Years,
but here's the thing about that, what you just said, is that we can't do that. And we need great partners like CDK to help us with that, because when we look at our internal data, we kind of do that internally. But then we don't want to be in that bubble, and we want to look outside, and how do we grow, right? And how do our leaders at our store grow, is that we need your help in that situation. And that's really what a great partner like yourself really helps us with that, because there's no way we can do that.
That's great.
And we really appreciate that partnership in telling us where we are and where we could be or where we can be by great data.
Or maybe where you're already the leader. What do I have to
God bless America on that, but we want to go some more.
Keep you on the right path.
Absolutely.
One thing that I know in order to do something like the comparative is you actually need some AI. You need some modeling to be able to understand kind of who that is. Can you talk a little bit, I'd like to hear from both of you about how AI can assist in this data analytics. Once again, all starts with the data, but then AI kind of takes it to the next level.
Well, I'm going to dumb it down and I'll let you be the smart guy on that. Is that, AI is like, whatever. I believe that you can help me with that, but I believe that the data that comes through that our employees see is real. They can back it up. So They look at my screen, I've sold 3,000 hours, right? They can go into CDK and see they sold 3,000 hours. Their paycheck is based off of 3,000 hours. They can verify it, right? So I think that when we look at driving success in our stores, is data has to be trusted, and data has to be put into where their forecast amount that we have for them is set in stone, and then we pay them off those numbers. So what we do is our data is driving our pay plans. Right? And the data is what's happening over the period of time. Says, I'm going to do blank data. I have 14 techs at 10 hours a tech, right? That's 100, that's going to give us 140 hours a day times 23. That's how many hours we have to sell, right? And then we break it down by the technician, we break it down to the service advisor, and guess what happens? Our team is working together to drive to sell those hours. Service manager, parts manager, counter people, service technicians, right? All of our bonuses are tied to the data that we present in screens at their store. There is no secret where we are at all. And I think that drives the fun culture, and when we celebrate those wins, it's the best thing. Now, I'm sure a little AI could help us in that, but I mean, I believe that driving that success, making your employees the best they can be.
Yeah, because I agree, and we get to the AI topic, but that data trust almost, right?
Oh my, it's a huge deal.
It's not just having the data; it's curating the data, making sure that it's the way it needs to be. It's accurate, because if you don't trust it, no one's going to trust it. So even
100%.
for reporting it, you need it, but you need it for AI, right? You need that data security. You need that, or else you're not even going to be successful with the AI.
Yeah, absolutely. And how you described how you put it together and show those insights, that's a lot of steps. Right? There's a lot that's involved. You got it down. I hear it. But, what AI is really, really good at is making that faster and automating it so you don't have to go through all those steps, right? That's ultimately what it is.
Yeah.
And, if you take, the day-to-day of a GM or a service director, they're working the store, they want to know their numbers. Hey, how many ROs do I need to close this week to hit that goal that you were saying, right?
Yep.
Well, if I'm running around, how would I do it? In a world with no AI, I have to sit down at my desktop, log in, go to a report, try to find it, do this, do that. Well, what if you just asked the AI, hey, how many ROs do I have to close this week? Right? To hit that number.
I like
and
that.
It just spits out the number for you, right?
Yep.
It makes it easy, convenient. You're on the go. We know you're busy, running around. Just ask it, and it'll tell you.
I think the next piece of that is that when we look at data set, think about this, is that you're always predicting what you're going to do for the month on day one. And I hate to say, people say, well, I'm a second half store. I say that's the wrong answer. And I think that when you're targeting a forecast for a store by person, every person has a forecast or a goal, let's say a goal. It's tied to their pay plan. And then what happens is that you drive the results, because ultimately, I loved how you said the GM is that he's in charge of the store. I can go there on day 3 and tell him how much net profit we're going to make for the store on day 3 and be almost 1% accurate. I'm only off 1%. And that's based off the data feeds that we get from all those products with using averages. AI helps us with that, right? And we can dial in. So now that GM says, well, I want to hit those targets. Then we can go in and say, you need to sell X more hours, X more cars, X more products to get us where we want. Our net profit should be spot on that money like that. Think about changing your net profit projection for a store on day 1, not day 31. And it really helps us with that. And it's amazing as we develop this, is that getting great data to come in, partners like yourselves, to get us that data so it's right, and it's been right. I was only off $18,000 on my expense for the entire group of Live for last year.
Wow.
And that's a predictive model that I did in the first quarter. So data helps us get to those numbers. Then they trust it like we talked about, and then we get a win. It's a huge win for us.
It's awesome.
That is great. What do you, this is for both of you, what do you really see in trends, what are you looking forward to in the future in the data analytics space?
Well, I love what you guys are doing. I think that your next step in data for us is huge. We want CDK, we want DMS data, right? That's been the only thing we want. And before, going down and dropping down and downloading 400 reports doesn't work for us. And now you're coming out with some options, data my way. We can get the data in raw form. You're getting this great analytics that you're going to get to us. We can go to the screen and then tell us what we want, right? But I think a lot of times happens is that you're assuming that everybody likes to look at hours per row. The worst word you can ever say. Worst word you can ever say. But you can set it up to whatever the person wants. That's what dealers, GMs, service managers, parts managers, sales managers want, is that we want to dial in the data to what they want to see with the backing of what the goal of the group is after.
It's a great point. That's another thing we saw in our market research is one of the top features they're looking for is that personalization, the configuration. Correct. You come in as a fixed ops director, you're going to go straight to the service summary. You don't want to go to finance, right? And so being able to do that and then organize it and customize it to get just the information you need, set up goals, set up KPIs. Yeah.
The goals to me are the most important with that data set because you figure out if you set a number like $4 trillion, what the hell does that mean? I have no idea. I don't know what that means. But if we dial it in by person, and we dial it in by department, and then we dial it in by store, so the general manager cares what? He cares about net profit because he gets paid. Care less about anything else, right? But he has to do all the other things to get what he wants, right? So now when all the departments are looking at the same goal and their special view that they want,
Exactly. Yep.
with our direction, of course, with the goals that we want that are based off the pay plan, then everything flows together. They don't even know about it.
That's right.
And then at the end of the month, we can predict the net profit for that store because of what we're doing throughout the month. We can dial it in less than 2% off. That's all we're off.
Right.
God bless America.
And when you need to do something about it, maybe you're over here, somebody else is at another store.
Yep.
How do you guys connect?
Great.
Actually,
that is a great question. So one is that we have, of course, we have the televisions, but really making sure that you bring your leaders together. Yep. I think that's where you're getting at. Our GMs, we have a monthly meeting, and it's a dinner meeting, which means we bring them in and we can talk about whatever, right? I think it's also good for on the corp side is that we go out and spread the good word. Not the bad word, the good word. I'm a positive person. I'm not a negative person. So I can go into a store and say, how you doing? Let's bring it up. I can tell you predict your net profit. I can tell you what you're doing on your hours forecast. We can look at the technicians. Why? Because we have all this data. You know, that technician needs a little love. That guy's doing a great job. If you hug that person, that back counter guy is getting the quotes done in 4 minutes. Let's give that guy a hug. We'll go out, look at the sales guy selling 23. This guy's at 1. Let's talk to that one guy, bring him in, get him motivated. This F&I guy can't sell maintenance. Let's get that guy in there. And guess what? Boom, it comes down to the bottom. He's like, we got it dialed the way we want. I mean, that's so awesome. Man.
And maybe you're sitting at dinner and you're like, what was my gross profit per RO?
I don't even care.
Right.
If you dial it to the big picture and realize that gross profit is a byproduct of what we do, right? Hours, sell hours, gross profit follows. Next is you're going to sell units, sell products, gross follows at suit. It's just part of the deal. So you're focused on something that your people can do, right? Our people can't control PVRs half the time. F&I probably so. Our people can't control gross on ROs. Because here's the deal. We want to sell maintenance. What happens to gross? It falls apart, right? So the goal is if you're thinking in the big picture of gross, you're going to lose the direction of where you want to be at the end of the month. Right. Data helps us get us back on track to make sure we're selling those hours, we're selling those units, we're selling those F&I products, and we're selling those parts to the goals that we have, and then everybody gets paid on it, and we can diagnose and we can tell what the store is doing instantly.
Yeah. Actionable insights.
And we bring everybody together and we share everybody's data. It's open book for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every technician knows what everybody else did. Every writer knows what everybody else did, right? Every salesperson knows, every F&I knows. There's a website and TVs, and then we bring people together to celebrate wins. That's what we want to celebrate.
Yeah.
I know I'm going on a tangent, but
no,
I
it's
love
great.
it.
I love the enthusiasm. It's a great example of that need to configure for your needs,
Yep,
right?
100%.
Another dealer may not have, just making sure you get what you need. So I think we're close to time. Brian, do you have anything you want to share about the future
I
of
appreciate
analytics?
you being here. I love the passion. I love the data-driven culture that you have at the group, and we really appreciate you being a customer.
Well, we really thank you as a great partner. I say not customer, we're great partners, and CDK has been a really good partner of ours for a long, long time. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very much appreciate. I mean, you guys are a great example of the future of the dealer reporting, and so we're excited with CDK with the new intelligence suite and bringing out the advanced analytics. So thank you so much for joining, the two of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.